Okay, so welcome to this week. We're going to be talking about human activity as it pertains to pollution and the environment. We're going to start with these learning targets. Make sure to get these down. We're going to be talking about the various costs and benefits of clean energy sources and identify sources of pollution, their consequences of the measures in place to prevent pollution in the future. So the first form of clean energy we want to talk about is solar energy. I think we're all familiar with this. The solar panels on different housing units that you can install, those are forms of active solar collectors. They're either used to supply heat or electricity. If we go into this next slide, we can see what that looks like. This one specifically is for heating up water. So water will fill these pipes right here, and this black layer is going to absorb all the heat from the sun. This plate is going to keep that heat inside, and then all the hot water is going to be connected to the rest of the pipes of the house, being transferred wherever it may need to be. Some advantages of solar energy is that it is fuel free. So the fuel comes from the sun. The sun is always there, so you don't have to use any gases or electricity to produce electricity or heat from solar energy. It's also non-polluting, which is quite a big deal as we end up going through some of these clean solutions. And once we start looking at pollution problems that we've had in the past. Some drawbacks is that installation costs can be really expensive. So if you're just starting out, these can be very, very expensive to install, but they will eventually end up paying for themselves because they're going to limit the amount of electricity you have to pay for. And you'll need supplemental heating units for if you live in a place that doesn't get a whole lot of sunshine. You're going to need some backup so that you don't run out of heat or electricity due to lack of sun. So advances that are taking place in solar energy, photovoltaic cells. So it's kind of like this same concept here, except instead of heating up water, there's cells that are attached to this panel that actually turn sunlight or sun energy directly into electricity. We can also set up mirrors to track the sun and keep it so that we're getting direct sunlight more often. And we can use mirrors to also superheat water, which can then be transferred to turbines to turn electrical generators. This is what that looks like. So all these mirrors are set up to reflect the sun onto this tower right here that has a bunch of water in it. It's going to superheat this pressurized water. When it's released and depressurized, it's going to turn into steam that turns a turbine, producing electricity. So nuclear energy is going to be the next one we talk about. Radioactive materials are going to be used to release energy through nuclear fission. So nuclei of heavier atoms are going to be bombarded with neutrons. The uranium nuclei is then split after it's being hit with these neutrons. It's going to emit neutrons and heat energy, and then the neutrons it emits is going to run into more uranium atoms, causing a chain reaction to occur. Drawbacks of nuclear energy is obviously the cost of building safe nuclear facilities is going to be really expensive. There's hazards of disposing of nuclear waste. We end up just burying it because there's nothing else really to do with it. And then concerns about accidents. Obviously, there's the Chernobyl accident that took place. So there's a whole lot of history as far as bad nuclear accidents, and they're not as common nearly as much anymore. So nuclear is actually considered more of a clean source of energy. And here's a diagram of kind of how it works. So in here, we're going to have the nuclear reaction taking place. These control rods go down and they stop the chain reaction from happening so it doesn't get out of control. When that heats up, all that heat is transferred over to a steam generator. Steam is produced and it turns a turbine, which turns an electrical generator, which produces electricity. Okay, we're going to move on to the next ones right after this.